What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Business Breakthrough. I sit down with my good friend Ian of Brink Construction as we hammer out strategy. He's in the next phase of his business. So the first time we sat together, we were hammering out strategy to help him acquire help, to remove him from the production side, to help him form a business. And we went over hiring process and we went over niching down, and he took my advice, which is awesome. So now we're at the next level of him actually keeping his team busy and anticipating growth. So this was a really great business breakthrough with Ian. I hope you get a lot out of it. And thank you again for listening to the Contractor Secrets Podcast. The big question you need to ask yourself every day is, do I own a job or do I own a business? And unfortunately, the majority of contractors out there own a job. That's right. They're a slave to their own business. But the other side of the fence is so much greener. It's so much better. And that's when you're finally fully in control of your destiny, your freedom, your time. And that's what Contractor Secrets is about. It's about taking back our time, building a business with systems, standards, values, procedures, putting yourself in the driver's seat. And that's what it's about. So I'm excited. I'm happy to have you here. Let's dive into the Contractor Secrets Podcast. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Contractor Secrets Podcast. I got Ian back with me of Brink Construction in Canada. We're here hammering out some strategy. Yesterday, we hammered out some strategy, but now we're going to hammer out some more strategy. So what's the topic today, man? What's an area that you're wanting to focus on?
So last time that we were together, we were obviously looking to hire and stuff like that, which I actually did get 2 employees now, which is awesome, but terrifying at the same time. And part of me is having an issue with just like, it's just a stress of keeping them busy and selling those lead or those, getting like the leads to, buy. And also, right now is a crazy time because we have Christmas coming up and then we have the New Year's coming up. So I'm trying to fill up the schedule, but I'm like, right now I only have 2 weeks.
Yeah, different world with when you have other people counting on you, man. Originally, it was keeping yourself busy, worrying about yourself, and being like, no work next week. All right, I'll go outside and take care of some lawn work, And it's like now it's like, hey, maybe they don't have that luxury. They are depending on you to bring income into their households. So
Exactly.
how's that mental transition been for you?
It's super stressful. I tell people it's like I adopted 2 families.
There you go. That's
because I literally adopted 2 families, right? Now I need to take care of them. And so, I mean, this last 2
Here's what
weeks
you
has
need to
been
think.
nuts.
It's not you yes, you are taking care of them, but you need to put them in positions for the customers to take care of them. Like you are a facilitator, right? And it sometimes it's good to like think of things like that to take the pressure off of yourself. If you really honestly say that to yourself, like I just adopted these guys. I got to figure out how to pay them. Really, you are, if you stand back, the facilitator of supply and demand. And what you're doing is you're taking them and you're putting them in a position to be paid by the customer through you. You're just divvying out the money to them. You see, so sometimes it helps to take the pressure off with analogies like
that is true. But these last 2 weeks have been crazy. I've been, up till 8, 9, 10 p.m. sometimes doing job or estimates. One, like as example, the other day we're working on this job. It's a flip house, and I found out that they didn't bring the wood in to start, what do you call it, accumulating or whatever. So I called the homeowner, which was the client, and he's like, oh yeah, it's all in the garage. So I was like, okay, it's like 11 o'clock at night here. I have to drive an hour to the job site to go bring all this stuff in. I drove an hour there. And then, and before I drove, he said, oh, I'd feel so bad if you did that for me. And I'm like, look, dude, I'm not doing this for you as much as I like you. I'm doing this to keep my guys busy. Like I can't send them home without work. So I drove an hour there, and I'm not even kidding, Tanner, when I say this, an hour trying to get the door open because he bought the cheapest padlock you can. And then finally another door worked by just slamming it open because the lock was barely.
This is what, I mean, this is what it takes. And it's like, I love that you did that. This is business. It's not this peachy thing. And I'm glad you shared with me this example, because I mean, I could draw on so many examples where I had to stop eating dinner with my family and go and handle something that needed to be handled. I mean, business is ugly, it is. And we're trying to make it pretty, but it takes a while. It really
I only got home at 1:30, slept for 4 hours to bring the next guy back to the site the next day.
So. But what we do this for is for freedom. and we do it
Exactly.
for control of our time and the ability to create a great place for our people to work. So I commend you for the hustle.
Thank you. Thank you. So now, okay, this is the biggest problem. This is why I called you. So originally what my plan was is let's get some data, or some people might say data, get some data together and then come to you with it and say like, how can I improve? But after doing my first job costing, which thank you to you for giving me that form,
Oh, you
um,
like it? The
I do like it.
spreadsheet?
I do like it. I
Yeah, it's
do want to
easy, right?
mention when you sent it to everyone though, some formulas were screwed up because of when we were doing the demo. So I had to fix those.
Ah, yeah, sorry.
But
I didn't
yeah, no,
I
it's
did it
okay.
quick.
Yeah, it's all good. So I did my first job costing and we were negative 14% profit. So
That's an eye
that's
opener.
why, yeah, exactly.
See, if you
So
didn't do that though, you could have been operating that. And the crazy thing about cash flow is that it confuses us. Like,
mhm,
we get the cash and we pay somebody and then we get a deposit for another job and we don't really look back to say like, hey, have we been profitable? And sometimes the cash confuses us.
exactly. Now, there are a couple of things that I do want to mention about this specific scenario is that it was the guys' first job working together. So maybe they're trying to get the groove of each other. And it was also a glue down floor. And it was just like it's one of those situations where it's like I don't know if I need to be kicking my guy's butt into gear or if I need to
Right. I
this
mean,
is what I kind of
to
talked
be
to you slightly
negative
about yesterday.
14%, to be losing money, something is way off. And
Yeah,
that
there's
has to
something.
be, it's something's way off. And the quicker you pinpoint that, the quicker you can fix it. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's not
Mhm.
like you looked at the end of the year and said we lost 14% across the board. So let's talk about the job, right? Let's start there. Where'd you get the lead from?
So this lead came from Eric.
Okay, so essentially, job costing could be narrowed down to the point where you divide the amount that you're paying Eric, and then you divide it by all the jobs that you or all the leads that you got, and you allocate actually a cost to that job for that lead too. That's a
Mhm.
deeper level of costing, but hey, if you actually narrow it down, there is a number that you could find, so it could even be less. So when you look at that, what was the so wasn't there like a discount offer that was put on this job?
Yes, so we're currently doing a 17% discount, which is one of the reasons why I'm also talking is because it seems like I'm always bringing in the customers who are trying to get a very cheap deal.
Well, it's all perception. So you could
Exactly.
they I mean it's not like something that people know like an iPhone's $900. Like everyone knows that. 17% off of that, okay,
Hmm.
iPhone really actually gave you a discount. With your services, emotional and variable. So you could
Yeah.
be, you could be up, you know what, today, it's gonna be 6 grand today, and
Yeah.
then we'll give you 17% off of that. So it'll be like 5,400, so it's like, that I don't care about that. It's your job to frame it though. Like if you're
Yeah,
not doing a good job of framing the discount in a way that favors you in terms of perception and also makes the customer feel valued and not like they're being taken advantage of, that's your job. You got to get better at that.
for
Um,
sure.
so let's talk about the price. What was the price of the job?
So, do you mind if I share my screen actually?
Not at all.
Okay. So there's a couple things here I want to show you first. So first I'll kind of show you, um, can you see QuickBooks, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So pretty much the job itself, um, came out to, here we go. So this is actually my invoice here. So it was $2 per square foot for removing the existing floor. It was 75 cents a square foot for removing the existing carpet. It was $4.25 a square foot for installing the glue down hardwood floor. And then $3.20 square linear, sorry, $3.20 a linear foot to install 122 linear feet of baseboard, and that also includes the supply of the material. And then this was Alex's cost for painting, and then there's the discount at the bottom. And then this is actually I did the $25 incentive for them to leave 3 reviews, which I adopted from your podcast. I forget who it was who
Alex.
talked about Alex.
Which and did he do it?
So far, no, but this was like I literally collected the check like 2 days ago or a day ago.
And he did, and you collected it without him actually doing the reviews.
Actually, I just sent him the review links yesterday, so we're gonna see how it goes.
Okay.
See if he does it.
All right. So and this and then he paid for the floor himself, correct?
That is correct. Yes.
All right. So all this minus because you just charge costs on the painting at 680,
I no, his rate is $3 a linear foot.
and
I
you're
bumped
charging
it up.
four.
four. So
You
I
made
have
$170 on the painting.
yes.
Okay. So, a couple things here. So first off, how did you come up with these numbers? Like this, is this based off of what you know, like the dot, like the per linear per square footage rate? Like, is this
Mhm.
based off of like what you've done in the past, or what you know it usually installs for? What
So
does that look like?
it's actually funny because originally when I first started my business, I called some other companies. It's just get like a range of what they're at. And it's actually funny because I did this yesterday for this call so that I can actually show you some data. So I called a total of 12 companies and got um, all their square footage costs for
They're
down
nuts.
hardwood,
That's
glue and
awesome.
nail down hardwood, vinyl and laminate, and
But
then
listen, as much as this I think it's cool that you did that.
yeah.
I also think it's worthless unless they tell you how much they're paying their guys.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Like,
But I
I
just tried to
mean,
get like a range of an
yeah,
idea. And
no,
like it
yeah, and
actually I said how many days it's gonna take them for a
wow,
1,000 square feet and then how many people they bring on the job site.
that's
And these are
super
the
cool.
averages.
I love it, dude. That is actually really cool. So I don't know if anyone, obviously, I'm going to explain what I'm looking at here because it's cool. So he put together a spreadsheet of 12 companies that he called to get how much they charge for per square footage for hardwood, glue down, vinyl, how many people they put on the job site, how many days it's going to take, and what they charge per square footage. It's pretty funny how you've gotten 12 people to just give you these numbers
Yeah.
without any issue. I think that's kind of funny. Medians and all that. So first of all, none of them are actual salespeople if they gave it to you over the phone,
No, I
and
know.
I
There
think that
were
like
some people who said that I need to see the job first, which I was
yeah,
like, no, I understand that.
and that's cool. So like but you can see like the majority of them are not. So I like to say you're in bloody water, man, because like if the average customer can do this, then it's easy for them to price shop 12 companies. So you're gonna have to probably work a little extra harder to build the value, man. And
Hmm.
I don't know if you were on the call still yesterday that we did with Eric. There was one guy who said that he actually met the customer at the flooring distribution store and help them pick out what type of flooring they wanted.
So if you see
Um,
here, oh, actually, my apologies. One thing that I offer on every single one of my estimates is a free in-person
how are
consultation.
you offering that though? Because if you're just writing it down, that's
Do
different
you want to
than
do like a role play of the sales process?
well, no, I just want to ask because I got to get back to this number and I don't want to deviate
Yeah,
too
yeah,
far.
no
So
problem.
like when you
So
do the sales process, are you emphasizing that you're going to meet them and do
yeah,
everything with them? Okay.
so normally if they come up to me and they say, "Oh, we don't really know what we want yet," I say, "Oh, that's no problem because one thing that our company also offers with every single one of our sales is a free in-person consultation where we will either bring you samples if available or bring
Okay.
you to our trusted suppliers to make sure you get the
All
perfect
right.
material."
That's cool. How many samples do you carry with you in your car?
Well, I was carrying samples, but I don't bring them in the house.
Okay. You should bring them in the house after you price the job.
After I make the sale,
After you
or
price the job. It's a
and I
great
come
way
in.
that it could be after you make the sale, but after you price the job, you could go in and you could say, you know what, listen, before I get started, I have some samples in the car. Let me show you some samples because I know there's a variable here about how much it's going to cost you to pick a certain type of floor. Would you like me to show you some options that we have
Mhm,
that we're familiar with? Now I know you used to sell the floor on top of the sale, and now we're doing labor, right?
mhm.
So it's a little bit different.
It
Now
was
you could
actually
come in, you
when
could
I
come in with that, but so go ahead. I'll let you continue.
when I did call this guy here, he actually mentioned like I the last person I called, I basically told him exactly what I was doing. And he's like, "Oh," and he kind of like we sat there on the phone. It was like 30 minutes before our call yesterday. And I just talked to him all about my business and about him. And I actually sent him the podcast again. And
Thank you.
basically he told me that a lot of where he does subcontractors, but he said a lot of where his profit comes from is actually markup on material.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you might have to pivot here because that's what I'm trying to figure out. And
Mhm,
and I don't, the thing about it is that there's the variable of what type of material, and that's where you might bring in an allowance. It gets messy. You and I both know this because it's like, what do they want? Now, how you create a hedge against this is you bring samples and you identify what the price is for that specific sample. So, for example, you can bring If they're doing vinyl, you can bring 3 different vinyls and you could label them as to what they are per square footage, obviously the box. And then you could say, okay, now this might not be the color you want, but if you get this style, this is what we're going to have to price you for. And we can look at the different color variations.
Yeah, I normally
I
bring
think,
like chain sets with like 15 different colors on it.
yeah. And then say, okay, what color you want? Like, dude, if you can do that, like it's easy for me in the paint world to do that because our pricing for paint is usually right at the same no matter what color they choose.
Mm.
Again, the hardest variable for you is, and again, you're going to obviously increase your closing rate. You're going to, again, have the luxury of markup on materials, which it's looking like you're going to need if you're hitting negative 14% in terms of a profit margin on this. So it might be worth your time to go to a flooring distribution area or store, find out different tiers of floors, and really try to create a system to where you can narrow down what they want, what thickness they want, what style they want, what type they want, and then provide them those samples on the spot so you can find out what pricing you're going to price it at with that flooring. Because
Mhm.
it is valuable when the contractor comes in and says, we'll take care of everything. This is what it's going to be.
Yeah, I think that was actually my plan because I did get a job sold yesterday, and I already started the whole color consultation. I gave them my chain set of vinyl samples, and then today I was going to be going to distributors to try to find a nice dark color of what they were looking for. And while I was there, I was going to ask them for any samples that they might be able to give me, or I might be able to buy,
So,
or try to
so
gain a
this is good
relationship.
because if you have that chain thing of 15, you know, you could sell the job with that and say, I'm going to come back tomorrow and bring you an actual piece of it.
Mm.
Might be a little extra work, but that solidifies the selection. Now, after they've already committed and they don't like that, you already have the sale. So you can say, okay, well, if you want to upgrade to something different, it's going to be this much more.
Mhm.
You see how much different that is? Because all this is about narrowing and zeroing in. Unfortunately, we want them to pick something. And if you can do that in a way that hedges against them making a bad decision, which I believe it would be, you give them the chain set at the consultation, you let them know what quality it's going to be. Maybe you have little cutouts of thickness. And then you say, listen, after we're done here, I'm going to obviously quote them, agree to it. After we're done here tomorrow, I'm going to bring you by a sample so you can see what this is like. But this is where we're at in terms of cost. We can agree to this. And if we need to make a change, if you decide to go in a different direction, then we can make an adjustment here. But I'm going to bring you this actual sample flooring just so you can actually see what it looks like.
Mhm.
That's value, and that's really making it easy for you to get the sale because this is a big barrier for people. What type of floor they're going to pick? There's just so many variables. I mean, so it might require you to really zero in and figure out how you're going to go about this to where you can mark up the flooring because it's going to be hard to overcome negative 14% no matter what I do here if that's what you really hit.
Yeah. Well,
Most flooring companies operate with the subcontractor model to where the subcontractors get a set price. If they take too long on it, then it's the subcontractor's loss.
yeah, no, for sure. I can actually show you here as well. I'll do this. This is the this is I think the problem that I mainly had here was the amount of days it took, right? It took us 4 days to do um just under 600 square feet. Now, the one thing that I didn't price for in this job was moving furniture, which is what the guys told me took a lot of their time. And
So
sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
no, I'm just saying. So what you have here is great. You have 2 guys right now, and right now you're just testing the waters of what life is like when you're trying to keep people busy. The big problem I see here is that Ashcombe and Jamie are both getting paid the same amount. That to me means that they are both really good at what they do, or you're overpaying. Which one is it?
So they are both really, really good.
Okay, that means that you need to split them up and find 2 helpers under them to lower the cost. And now you have 2 crews. I know that's
Mhm.
like, wow, I don't know if I could do that. Yeah, you can because I mean that's a lot, dude.
No, I know. It's almost like, you know how you say like the unicorn things?
Yeah.
I genuinely think I somehow stumbled across two of the unicorns
It's not
because
somehow you're diligent and you have a attractive personality when it comes to business, man, and you're trying to figure this out and you apply yourself and that's attractive to people that aren't business minded but they want to work and they need the skill and you're not afraid to pay them really well. I mean, these are
Yeah.
the things that I preach. I love it. But you've also got to look at it like this. These two guys are really good. You know, I have two A personalities here. Let's just say that. And they're not thriving right now together. Although they think they are, for the business, it's not. We need to separate them and find two college kids or two helpers alongside them. It's going to lower the job cost, and they're probably going to get it done in the same amount of time because one person's holding the wood, the other person's cutting it.
Hmm.
I mean, what are two mechanics doing during the day? I mean, if you have one of those guys who are getting paid that much money, all they're doing is grabbing the piece that got cut and putting it in. That is
Yeah.
not efficient
Yeah.
at all. Would you agree?
No, I agree. In this circumstance, though, one thing I do want to talk about these guys is they have the business in their best interest. Like last day or yesterday, we were on break, and all they were talking about is systems that we can implement in the business to make it run better. And we were thinking of like, oh, let's get this going here and let's do that. And they're like, and one of the guys, Jamie, he's like, hey man, I know that you said we don't get our t-shirts and stuff until our 3-month probation, but he's like, if I give you money out of my pocket to get the t-shirts now so we look more professional on the site, I would be willing to do that. And then you could pay me back after the 3 months or something.
Yeah, I
And then
like
if
that.
so it's like,
They're bought in, and I think that I'm telling you, you have. I'm telling you what I'm seeing here. That's why you came on. You have two
yeah,
great people. Your job is to give them more room for growth. Like if you have people that are ready to grow, you need to allow them to grow. I mean, you should definitely be giving them t-shirts off the bat. I mean, it's such a small expense, maybe 3 t-shirts. And if they quit, take it off their check if it's that big of a deal.
yeah. I'm still
It's
waiting
only
for them to
hurting.
come in though. That's it. I don't actually
Oh,
have them
gotcha.
yet.
Okay. So in any case, I'm just letting you know that look at this. You have two great guys. Your job cost right now, your hourly labor cost right now is massive in comparison to what your competition is doing for two people on a job. It's
Mhm.
huge. You need to find a way to offset that. And now you're able to not only offset it, but you're able to give yourself a little more pressure to do two jobs at once, which means right now the entire business is surviving off of what one job can do. So here's deeper thought in terms of cost. Number one, the employees have to get paid. Number two, you try to get paid. Number three, the business needs to make profit. And then number four, all the overhead costs of running a business, marketing, right?
Mhm. I
All
pay
that's
about
coming
5,500
from,
bucks a month.
yeah, all that's coming from one channel. Guess what happens when you do two channels? You see,
Yeah.
now employees, right? Next level, profit, a little bit of profit on each one. And then the overhead gets split into two.
Mm-hmm.
So this might be a pivotal moment for you to switch gears here because even if you do mark up materials, even if you do like, I don't know, raise your labor prices here, number one, you're going to be stressed out because it is going to be harder to sell. You're going to have to work harder to hit these numbers, right? And number two, we can't guarantee that the jump that you're going to get is going to be what's going to make you feel in control. You're still going to have to branch out to do two jobs at once.
Yeah.
Now's the time. When else is the time?
No, for sure. I think I definitely think I'd be a lot more confident in going and hiring 2 more people, helpers. But the scary part is trying to just keep this one crew busy right now has been so hard. And it's not even the lead flow coming in. It's that, and this is the next thing I want to talk about was the sales process, right? I I feel like everyone always tells me that my prices are already too high. And I'm like really into my sales process that like they literally tell me I offer like, hey, I know that you went with somebody else, would you mind leaving a character review because I helped you figure out what you're looking to do by basically it's like they're not my right customer.
How
I
many
know.
estimates are you doing in a week?
um Roughly 5. Like this week I have one, two,
Okay. And
three, four, five.
tell me what your follow-up process looks like.
So that's one of my biggest issues is follow up is that I don't actually have like a set date, and I also don't know when I can just kind of like stop calling them if they're not picking up. That's
Well,
one
the
thing
thing is,
want to ask you.
are you doing email and text follow-ups when you send
I oh,
proposals?
I I do proposals in person, then I email it to them when I get home, and then the follow ups I normally just call.
All right. Well, that's why you need Dripjobs, by the way, to do that. Automated emails and text
I know,
messages
I
to
know.
make up the difference between what you can't accomplish by yourself and what a system can do for you. That's your sales process. That's your insurance policies. When you look at cost of drip jobs, you look at it like this. What am I wasting in terms of my inability to get this done, and what can a system do for me that I would hire an office admin to do? And if
Yeah.
that's the reality of the situation. So there's a hedge against what we can do and what we can't do. Now, in terms of your follow up, you need to be, first of all, if you're coming into the door with a 17% discount, let me ask you this, okay? And they know they're getting a 17% discount. How do you utilize that discount in a way that encourages them to buy from you?
So, well, one is that I try to convince them that it's only for today.
How are you? It's not trying to convince them. It's either it is or it isn't.
it's because anytime I say, okay, so the way I present it is once I do my price, I come in with my tablet and I actually sit down and I show them the estimate without the 17% discount. And I kind of make it a show, right? I go down and we kind of talk about the whole estimate. And I said, here's your price, but today I'm offering you, and I scratch out the price and I write the new total. And I say, after the 17% discount, I'm offering you this much off, which makes your new total this much. And then I sit there and watch. And then they say, oh, price is a little bit high. And I say, okay, no, I understand it. And then I ask like have you ever hired a professional contractor? I go into trying to build value. And then they say, okay, we're going to want to like just sit. I'm going to talk to my wife about it some more. I'll let you know later. And I was like, well, unfortunately, the 17% discount only lasts today. And then most of the time they're like, come on, are you kidding me? Like, you're really going to say that? And then I try to build value. And then if anything, I normally say, okay, look, what I'm going to do for you, I don't do this for most clients, but I'll hold the 17% discount until 12 o'clock tonight. Give me a call by tonight and I can hold that discount for you. And then I normally don't hear back from them.
That's tough.
Yeah. And it's every time I ever tell them that the discount's only valid today, all they do is just say, come on, like, how can you do this to me? Like, I just like ruin their life because
Yeah.
I'm not offering this discount for the rest
So
of.
what value are you offering in excess of what you're supposed to do? And that doesn't include all right, so if you look at the last, give me an example of the last person you did an estimate for, the last good job that you wanted, you knew it was going to be a good job.
Last night,
Okay.
7:30 p.m. Guy named Nico.
Why
I
were you
went
there at 7:30 at night?
because that's his only available time.
Okay. And you went there, his only guy named Nico. What was
Yep.
the scope of the job?
He just evicted somebody from a rental property. He doesn't. I asked, gone on site. I said, so what's the story? Why are we here? Oh, evicted some people. It's kind of disgusting. We want new floors, new baseboards. We're probably going to renovate the whole house. He might live in it or he might just sell it. Originally, he wanted laminate. I sold him on vinyl because I told him that from what he's telling me, this is going to be so much more valuable to him. He didn't realize how much better vinyl was than laminate in this situation. And he really appreciated that for me.
Okay.
I went around the entire house, and this is like the perfect customer. I want to let you know, like if I wanted to go to a bad customer, there's so many more I could talk about.
No,
This
I
was the
want to, I
perfect
want to hear about
customer.
this guy. Go ahead. So what
So
happened?
right after that, we talked a little bit. He was running garbage from down in the basement because they were cleaning out the house with his wife or girlfriend or something. So I kind of talked to him a little bit. We went over the entire house. I kind of told him about the whole baseboard and shoe mold, and I said, you know what? I know you could, we need shoe mold in here because it's going to make it look a lot more character. Like all the baseboards are going to have a lot more character to it. So pretty much after that, I went ahead and started costing the job. Now this was a lead not from Pathfinder, so I didn't have the 17% discount on this one. So I went ahead and I did all my measurements while they were working downstairs. And then I went outside. I made my estimate, came back inside. I said, okay, guys, there was nowhere to sit. Literally, all the chairs that were in there were disgusting. So I was like, unfortunately, we can't sit down. So let's stand. So, because I know you said if you ever give a
You're
price
probably
standing
laughing.
up.
You were laughing when that happened because we just talked about that.
I know. So I was like, unfortunately, I literally can't sit down in this situation. So I was like, let's just stand up. And this is the first job that I actually gave with the flooring included in it. So then I went ahead. I'm going to share my screen here so you can see. He also asked me to divot the estimate up in all three rooms. So I did. I put my square footage cost for upstairs, main floor, and the basement. And then when I presented it to him, we went over the estimate and I showed him the price. And he was like, oh, wow, that's a little bit high there. Or he's like, oh, you know what? Like, I think we're going to sit back, we're going to have a beer and we're going to think about it. That's what he said to me. So I was like, oh, no, I completely understand. And I was like, just curious, have you ever hired a professional contractor for? Oh, no. First I said, he's like, oh, this is a little bit above our budget. So I said, oh, if you don't mind me asking, like, what was your budget price? And he said, oh, well, $8,000. And I was like, oh, okay. So I definitely can see I'm a little bit above what your budget was, 4 grand, right? Because I can't, I know that price is 8, but this is, I took the flooring off and then sent it to him. So it was plus $4,000 for flooring. So we were at about 12. And so then, he said, oh, yeah, well, there's a decent gap there. And I said, okay, so have you ever hired a professional contractor before? He said, no, I haven't. So I said, okay, that's no problem. Do you mind if I explain my process to you? And he said, yeah, no, for sure. So I explained right from the beginning, when we sign the contract, we take a 25% down payment. We start the project, we find the exact flooring you want. I explained the whole, free in-person consultation. And then right down to the very end, then I said, look, I know that you guys wanted to go at, it was like 10.5 or 10.8 before tax. It's like, I know you guys want to be at 8,000 here. What I can do for you just today is I'll minus off $800 if I can get your business today. And then they kind of sat there, they looked at each other and they said, oh, I still think we really need to think about it. Would you be able to hold that discount for me? And I said, unfortunately not. So it was one. And then after that, he just kind of said, like, we're going to get more estimates anyways. So it was one of
So
those.
so here's the deal, right? They're cleaning out the house. The house is going to be empty. They also need to paint it, right?
Yeah.
They got to do all these things.
I tried to tell him on the painting. He wanted to do all the painting himself.
That's fine. So and the issue kind of runs into is that, like, some people want to paint before the flooring goes in. You know,
He did actually bring that up, and I told him that you can put the flooring in before paint as long as you protect it properly.
a way for you to value add that.
What's that?
We'll tape paper over the whole floor for you.
Yeah.
Once we're done, we'll put paper over the whole floor, so you can paint. Right now you're in grind mode, so that's a
Yeah.
huge value add. You know what I'm saying? So you can get that out of the way. This is where you make a phone call this morning and say, "Hey, I was looking at my notes. Look, my guys could really use the job. Just curious, at the number that you gave him with the minus 800, do you know what your profit margin would be if everything went well?"
I actually did not. I did add up. I tried to do it in the car, but my problem that I had is trying to find the profit margin on site kind of confusing me a little bit. So maybe we can go over that
Let's
before
go
I
over
go.
it real quick. So, I mean, most of it's a labor cost. So if you look at it, what was the total quote?
The total estimate was before tax, right?
Or yeah, that's fine.
6,675, not including the
Six, six,
material.
7, 5. Was that after you subtracted
No, minus $800.
and then you minus 800? So he's at 58.75, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to see, because right now you're trying to get through the holidays. Like, you just really started your business a couple weeks ago with having these two
Yeah.
guys. Like, I don't even really care about you making money right now, because the leverage that you have going into the new year is huge, because you have these great guys. You're finally hitting your stride. You're learning sales. So you're really hanging in there. Like, dude, I love it. You're really paying
Mm-hmm.
attention to what I'm telling you. You're gonna get customers. You just need more practice. Like, you need more opportunities. Like, they're gonna start coming. So you were at 66.75. You subtracted $800. Now that leaves you at 58.75. How much materials and wood are you gonna have to buy? Probably like $300.
It was $135 for the nosing and transition strips, and it's kind of hard to determine in this, but probably
So
about
he
300
he
bucks in
buy you buy the
baseboard and
transition
shingle.
strips.
Yeah, and the nosing,
Okay.
yeah.
So, like, what do you think? Like 350?
I'd say 350, 400.
All right, 350. Okay. So your straight labor minus the materials is like 55 at that price. So what do you anticipate? How long you think it'll take your team to do it?
Job like this, from the ratio of what my other jobs, which I only have 3 jobs to go off of, 2 jobs were final. I'd say probably up to 5 days,
5 days, you think?
4 to
So
5 days.
at
Yeah.
75 times 8 times 5. Yeah, I mean, so that would be about 3 grand in labor for you,
Mm-hmm.
right? So 55.75 minus 3,000 puts you at 25.75 profit. Now, if you made 2 grand on this job, would you be happy?
Absolutely.
All right. So if your labor cost is 3 grand and you want to make 2 grand, okay. Now, obviously, with before taxes, and that's what the number we're going to tell them is,
Mm-hmm.
you could sell this job for 5 grand. You're going to make $1,700, and that'll get you to the next job. You could call him right now and say, "Listen, I really want your business. I have been thinking about it. I know that one of the barriers that we're going to run into is the fact that you want to paint and you don't want to get paint on your new floors, here's what I'm willing to do for you.
Mhm.
Okay. We could really use the work. We can get started when?
It was December 20th, I believe.
December 20th. I have an opening. Okay. As soon as we're done the floors, we'll put paper over all the floors and prep your floors for you so you can paint. And I'll do it for 5 grand before taxes. You know, that's a survival job getting you through the holiday, right? Like,
Yeah,
again,
no, for
this isn't
sure.
really like for me, it's not like, oh, he wants to take dude, it's not like I want to just like rip your profit away from you. You're making 1,700 bucks.
That's
That's
better
and
than four minus 14%.
that's gonna build you some momentum. But here's the trick: your guys got to get it done in 5 days. Okay. And there's gonna be pressure now. Like you know, like guys, we've got to get this done in 5 days. You are going to be popping in on the job to see progress every day as a project manager, not a helper. You might help if you need to, but there's been jobs where I knew we needed to get done. Dude, I grabbed a paint sprayer and started working, you
Mhm.
know, but I didn't stay there. I did it because I was protecting the profit. But what you're going to be doing is building momentum. I think you should call him now, you know?
Yeah.
I think you should call him after we get off this call. You should call him and say, look, here's where we're at. I could do 5,000 before taxes. That's as best as I can do. You know, we're going to do a great job. I can be there on the 20th. Okay. And, I know you were thinking about getting the house painted, before, but in order for us to get in there, I know you might need some time. I will put paper over all the floors for you, so you can paint without worrying about getting paint on it. That's an extreme value add, and that's at 5 grand. Because remember, if you're at $300 in wood, that puts you at 4,700. I went a little high on the labor for 5 days with your guys. I know what their cost is because I've seen it.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 1,700 in profit at 5 grand.
Okay.
Move on to the next job.
Yeah.
How do
No,
you feel
definitely.
about that? Like, do you think that's
I
gonna help?
I definitely think that can help. Yeah. And that is at like industry standard pricing too. So I feel like I do have a good chance of being able to actually possibly get it.
Yeah, and but imagine this, right? Imagine you have two of these going on right now at the same time. Two for the 20th, you just made 3,400 instead of
No, I
1,700.
know. No, I
See,
know.
that's what I'm saying. Is like you've got to get ready for that next year, and I don't think you need to do that right now. I think just ride the wave of getting through the holidays with these two guys. But
Mhm.
but look at this. You now make boom 17, 17. Now you made 3,400 as a company with four people
Yeah.
in a week. I mean, that's pretty solid. Now you have money for you and you have money for overhead and a little bit of profit left over.
Mhm.
Right now, it's just getting money from Peter to pay Paul. And it's a little stressful.
What do you think I should do when it comes to like 99%, not 99, let's say 95% of the people that I go and do estimates for, your price is too high after the 17% discount. And that's a true 17% discount off of what my normal price would be.
Yeah. I mean, again, first of all, Canadian buyers are a lot different than American buyers. Like that
Yeah.
has to be put out on the table. It's just different. But I would say that, getting creative, like I just got creative with that scenario of putting paper over all the floors for him so he can get the floors done, he can get it painted, he can get it rented. I mean, I know you said that you did tell me it was an investor property or a rental. So he cares
Mhm.
about how quickly this can get done so he can make a decision whether he's going to move in or because one way or another, he's losing money on where he's living or where he's not renting. So, you've got to keep that in the back of your head. And I think you should emphasize that. You say, I know you're thinking about renting it. I mean, we can get this done so you could possibly get it rented January 1st.
Yeah.
See how that value right there gives him more of an incentive to go with you rather than the company's like, oh man, I think we can get it, by January 1st. No, you know that he can't rent it out unless it gets fixed.
Yeah. No, for sure. Um, and now another thing here that I wanted to bring up is today's actually the end of my employee's 2 week trial. And I do plan on keeping both of them. Um, but I was trying to think of you like I was gonna say I was thinking about bringing them into my truck one by one and making it like an actual show so they feel like honored that they finished the 2 week trial, not just like all right guys, I'll see you tomorrow, you know?
I love it. I think you should do that. I don't know if you guys can eat lunch out there or what. They letting you guys eat lunch yet?
What do you mean eat lunch? Yeah.
Canada. I don't know if they're like the lockdowns and stuff. Can you
Yeah,
guys
no,
go
we
out
can
to eat?
we could go eat lunch. Yeah, yeah, like go out
Yeah,
to like
I
an
mean,
actual
so
restaurant, you mean?
yeah, like sit down and buy them lunch and sit down and say,
Yeah,
listen, man, like this is the vision, and pitch you're going there in the same way you pitch the vision to your customers. You got to be pitching vision to your employees. I do
yeah.
that all the time. Anytime I see my guy, I can't help but tell them, the vision of what we're
I
trying to
know.
accomplish.
That's
Like,
me too. That's literally me
like I
too.
want them to buy in because, it's hard, man. And I got to make sure that if I'm sacrificing my time, energy, effort, resources, and all this, I want to make sure that it's not going in vain to people that don't care about what we're trying to accomplish here. And I think it's important for you to pitch the vision. And I think this is a good vision for you to pitch. Hey, I forget his name. Hey, Joe. Listen, this is what we're going to do, man. I really think that although you and Bob are phenomenal together, I
Mhm.
really think that going forward, you need to be leading someone else on your own crew. How do you feel about that?
Yeah. See, one thing is like I'm really taking care of these guys. Like I've bought them lunch, I bring them coffees all the time, and like we just started this new job, and the house is a flip house, and it was like I couldn't even explain it. We had to get the cleaners in before we started construction. Is the best way to put it. Um, and when the guys started there, they were like, having trouble breathing because there was like, dust and just musk in the air. So I drove 20 minutes to the nearest Home Depot, picked them up 2 respirators for 60
Love it.
bucks each, came back and I gave it to him. And I said, they're like, oh no, like we have one at home. Like you don't need to do this. I'm like, dude, this is me investing in your health, not, just giving you a respirator so you can get the
Yeah.
job done. Like
Yeah.
I'm investing in
Everything
you.
you're doing is great. Keep it up. Never change. Don't worry. Look, if I can give you one thing today, do not worry about making money. Right now, you are way better off not making money and breaking even than you were working by yourself. Because
Hmm.
right now, you have something that people really don't, you can't really count it, but you could, your time. And your
Yeah.
time frees you to be able to make better decisions to market and grow your business. You've now created something on the side here that's working. You just got to perfect it,
I took
right?
that production head off, which
Yeah,
feels good.
yeah,
It
man.
feels
I
good.
also think it would be very wise for you to reach out to some distributors,
Yeah.
flooring places, and go in there and talk to them and introduce yourself and say, hey, we are installing floors. They'll give you a set rate and say, hey, and guess what happens when you get in there? You can upsell baseboards, you can upsell different things, crown molding.
Hmm.
So that's another lead source that you really should tap into. If you have the energy and effort to call 12 flooring companies, go to the floor stores
Well, that's my
and
plan
introduce.
today. Remember?
What's that?
I said that was the plan today because I was gonna have to go to distributors to find that
Oh,
vinyl
good.
sample. So that's why I was thinking like maybe like the good ones I'll come back the next day with a box of donuts or something,
Yeah, no, I mean, do it. Just
build a
get on their vendor
relationship.
list, man. Just say, hey, I just want to get on your vendor list.
Yeah. And
So,
then
and see.
also that last guy I called that I told you I kind of like laid into and told him why I was calling about the square footage numbers. He actually said that he's gonna send me, 5 or 6 of his distributors that he uses across the GTA, which is Greater Toronto area, so that I could like that give him good deals on his flooring
Right.
so that I can
Great.
take advantage of it too.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're in just you just started. If you just had these guys 2 weeks ago, you're so new into this that everything you're doing is going to set you up for success, bro. I
Yeah,
mean, everything you're doing, helping your guys, buying things, buying lunch, taking care of them. You're keeping your good help around. That's
exactly.
smart.
And the one last thing I have written down because I said, how I have my notes on my other
I
monitor
love it,
always.
man. You're ready. I appreciate that.
So when you told me to niche down, I'm not gonna lie, I genuinely was like, no, like I was like, there's no way. Like I love general contracting. Like I love seeing
Yeah.
the bigger picture from start to finish.
Right.
And then I think one of those days after I listened to one of the podcasts and you said you need to stop investing with emotion and be a business owner. And literally that right there changed my perspective. I said, I'm no longer, working a job that I have emotion towards. I'm building a business
Yeah.
that I'm going to make profitable. Like I'm a business person now. I'm not
Yeah.
a contractor.
Right.
So
Profitable, logical decisions off of.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And you see
exactly.
now what I mean, because imagine you have these two guys. Imagine if you had to tell them Monday that they need to remodel a kitchen.
Oh yeah, no, like this house that we're working on now, unfortunately I accepted it before I hired them, and some of it's like framing in a new stand-up shower, and not one bit of anything else than flooring I let them do. They go on site, they're like, oh, do you need a hand with something? I'm like, nope, I got it.
Nope,
I'm doing
nope.
all
You
the
stay there.
framing. You guys keep doing what you're doing. I was like, I don't want to screw up your flow. You
Yeah.
guys are great at what you do, and I want you guys to shine in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you see? But that's why I'm so passionate about that, because some people don't understand that flow and they don't
Mhm.
understand that momentum that their employees have to keep in order to
Exactly,
to
exactly.
get better. And you keep bringing them from one job to the other and doing this and this and moving them around. It's like, how can they improve? How can they
Yeah.
feel good about where they're going to work? They don't know where they're going or what they're doing.
Exactly. The
So
consistency, you know, as soon as it's like when they get there, and these two employees work so well together. They're cracking jokes all day. They're having like, you know, inside jokes, like things that they say to each other now that they
yeah,
keep
it's
saying every
awesome.
job. I'm seeing them, and like even one of the guys, Jamie, he says to me, he's like, man, you know, as much as I know in the future you want to move us apart and have like two teams, he's like, I'm gonna miss working with Ashcan, man. I was like, that's so awesome, right? And they're so invested in the company, like they want careers within my business, and it's so awesome to have that feeling. And they keep telling me, like, you know, they know my age, like they know how old I am, and they say, like, you know, Ian, you're doing this right, like you're going to be a millionaire by the time you're my age, because they're older too, like they're 38, right? So the fact that they still respect me and appreciate me as much as the fact that I'm younger than them proves to me that they're good
It's
employees.
because that you're showing them that you're humble enough to work for them. You're
Yeah.
not you're not the you do this, you're the let's do this. And people resonate with that, man.
And he actually said to me, he said, one guy took me aside and he's like, Ian, I do want to let you know that you're not a boss, but you're a leader. And
Wow.
it honestly almost made me want to like tear up, bro. Like I was just like,
That's
wow.
what I've been working so hard for. That's
I was
awesome,
like,
man.
I can't believe
Congratulations.
somebody told me that, you know? So
Nah,
and
man,
within
this
two
is well,
weeks.
look, man, I spent a lot of time coaching people and I spent a lot of time with these podcasts hoping that I hear things like this, man. And hey, when I first met you, we were way off from where you are now. So this is cool, man.
And
This
that's
is
only been
this
like
is
what, 2 months, a month?
yeah. Yeah. You hit the switch, man.
Yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, the way I looked at it is like, I'm young, the business is still fresh. Why not take the chance? Because what's the worst that can happen? You fail and then you jump back to what you're doing. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, you don't fail in life, you learn, right?
Yeah.
So if I was to fail at doing what you told me to try to do, then that's me learning how to perfect it better next time, or
Yeah.
learning that's not for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't
So
make these like, don't say, oh, well, I'm listening to this advice. Like I said, I'm like, I'm listening to this advice. It sounds like good advice, but when I actually do it, you know,
yeah, it's just
it,
it's a crazy feeling, man.
Dripjobs CRM is finally here. That's right. So Dripjobs is an automation platform for contractors, home service professionals that's going to automatically follow up with your customers. It's going to allow you to send invoices, estimates. It's going to allow you to send out blast marketing emails to individuals based on where they are in the buying process. This software is next level. And I'm reaching out to you. You're a listener of this podcast, and I want you to be one of the first ones to give it a shot. So if you want to see what Dripjobs can do for your business, I'd love for you to head over to dripjobs.com, sign up for a free demo, and get your team involved, and let us sit with you and show you how powerful this software is. It's going to save you time, it's going to make you money, and you're going to love the features that are built into Dripjobs. So if you want to check it out, head over to dripjobs.com. And we will give you first priority being a podcast listener to be one of the very first to try out Dripjobs in your home service business. I'm super excited to share that with you, and I'll catch you on the next episode.